My name is Meron Gribitz. I'm the CEO of a neurotechnology company called Inner Cosmos. The Inner Cosmos technology consists of a tiny neurostimulator for the largest chronic disorder on the planet, depression. It gets slipped under the skin over the prefrontal cortex behind the hairline on the left in a 30-minute outpatient procedure that's very quick. And for the rest of your life, your depression is essentially managed on your phone, and it's a much more modern pharmaceutical industry technology. Current forms of neurostimulation consist of electric shock therapy, which is a 100-year-old technology that creates a seizure in the brain, transcranial magnetic stimulation, which is a more modern version of that, about 30 years old. It's a more focal stimulation. It has less side effects, but it has a much higher compliance problem. You have to see the doctor 20 days in a row, which for a depressed patient that can often not really motivate themselves to get out of bed is a tall order. So what we've done is we've created TMS, transcranial magnetic stimulation, to go. That large refrigerator-sized machine is now the size of a penny, and it's with you for life, solving the compliance problem, creating a much more modern depression solution. Our technology fundamentally is a huge disruptor for the psychiatry industry, because right now, as a patient, I have to go to a doctor, take the day off, get a piece of paper, go to CVS, get a drug that's going to make 50% of patients or more, in the case of antidepressants, male patients, lose their libido, mental fog, fatigue, suicidality when I switch cocktails, and I'll have to wait 6 weeks before I'll know if it works. And then I'll probably have to do this whole thing again. It is the most widely used terrible technology on the planet. Compare that with 30-minute outpatient procedure. I go to the doctor once, and for the rest of my life, my doctor can remotely send me the most latest prescription from the FDA, just downloaded to my device like a Tesla would get the self-driving car algorithm, download to their device, and I could be remotely managed. This can save the healthcare industry billions and billions of dollars and completely change the way we do psychiatry, and most importantly, the user experience for the patient is second to none. The Inner Cosmos device is a platform play. Our first indication is depression, but we are targeting all the mass market cognitive disorders that you can think of. Anxiety, bipolar ADHD, and more. This is the Inner Cosmos device, very much like a pair of AirPods. I'll explain how it works in just a moment. So inside here, you'll see two things. One of them is what the patient will never see because it's embedded. This is slipped under their skin in a 30-minute outpatient procedure. It's one of the tiniest brain-computer interfaces in the world for the largest chronic disorder of depression. What you have here is a major disruptor in the psychiatry industry. This will be the standard of care after pharmaceuticals. How does it work? It magnetically couples for 30 minutes a day on the hair of the patient just for 20, 30 minutes when they're having a coffee, and it gets all the latest algorithms from the cloud, aka your latest prescription from your psychiatrist, and it also records the data from your depression levels, sends them up to the cloud and to your psychiatrist. So in the future, you'll never have to get a prescription again. It all gets downloaded automatically to your prescription pod. And then you could charge it in the charging case. You could have a few of them, for example, and each one will have about 2 days worth of juice. As I said, for 30 minutes a day or less, it'll be magnetically coupled on the hair. The patient will open the app. They'll see their mood graph, their depression graph, which has never been done before in any medical device accurately. They'll see their therapy streak, the next therapy session. Going to the next tab, they'll be able to connect the app to the implant using the connection tool. So you can now see that it's connected, and you're going to actually see and feel a pattern of connection. And then you'll get your digital prescription, which will include how many days, what the expiration, how many more doses you have, all digital. And finally, you'll be able to start your therapy by swiping it. And then you can see the therapy is beginning, and it's going through the motion. And at the end, you can stop your therapy. That's pretty much it. Then you can talk to your doctor remotely, and there are even some apps that you can download that can help support your therapy in more powerful ways. I'll get to that another time. But fundamentally, this is the future of psychiatry. There's no way we're going to use this 100-year-old technology in the future, I believe. And we're trying to create something that's super easy to use and exciting for patients and for doctors. So the history of this device begins with a very large and complicated computer that has some very, very high features. It's able to sense at really high resolution through the bone, through the skull, so you don't have to penetrate the skull like every other brain-computer interface. And then we took this and we miniaturized it to the size of a half a thumbnail. That's our ASIC over there. For most companies, that costs about $100 or $200 million to take it from this to this, and we were able to do that in the last few years. This all gets miniaturized into our digital pill and our power pod, which you can see over here is, and you might have different prescriptions for different indications that go into that charger. And then of course the digital pill is embedded under the skin, communicating wirelessly with the power pod. And that's the history of our device. We think in the future this can be the next step for psychiatric industry and how people consume prescriptions. I'm a good friend of Henry's and Scott's, and they were gracious enough to invite us here to LSI to meet with top tier investors, partners, and just a wonderful place for medical technology companies to come together and build this family.